3. We'll probably start in Revelation 2, I think, at this time. And Revelation 3. Let me go to Revelation 3. I want to finish up last week. I ran out of time. I went to about 8 till, which I shouldn't do, and I just was still going and had a lot to do. And so I want to finish up. So the way that I'm doing this, just so you know this, I'm finishing up last week on the Bible and health. The problem is I don't have time to lay the whole foundation of last week of where we're going. So I'm going to seem like I'm jumping in the middle of a thought and not turning to a ton of verses. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up last week's thought and give you some practical stuff. Then I'm going to move on to this week's lesson. And so that is what we're doing today. And that's why it's going to be just a little bit different. And I'm going to read a verse here, and then we'll give you some, we'll do a little review so we can get back to where we were. Revelation and chapter 3. And it says, verse 2, it says, "Be watchful and strengthen the things which remain, which are ready to die, for I have not found thy works perfect before God." All right, let's pray. And Father, we have a wonderful opportunity to get help in this area from your word and the Bible and health. And Lord, you've spoken to us and helped us already. We've seen changes in people's lives, and we thank you that your word gives practical things. And I thank you, Lord, that medical science has verified these things, and that's extra assurance, extra blessing. I think that they're going that way now, and we thank you for that. I pray you'd help us as we look into your word, and I pray you'd give us your wisdom that, as 3 John says, our health can prosper even as our souls prosper. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Last week we said Daniel, though they didn't have as good a food to make them fat as the king wanted, God blessed their food, as Jesus often did, and so we can do that. And so what do? Our food is deficient for a whole ton of reasons. We're not going to review that because we've hit it a couple weeks. There's a lot of reasons our food's deficient. And we're not going to hit back on that. But because of that, if we're getting 40 or 50 or 60% of our nutrition, we should from our food. By the way, the food here, so again, the problem is, and I didn't think I ever said this in a sentence, is the fat and the calories of food is up. The nutrition is down. So what happens if you try to get enough nutrition? You get way too many calories and way too much fat. Okay, and so your body's craving that nutrition. It knows it needs, but it's very hard to get that unless you're very careful in what you can do. And I gave a bunch of things. Anybody remember what I said you can do anyway? So we said, hey, you're okay. We're just fine, even though we have this major food problem. We're just fine because there's some things we can do. Anybody remember? The first thing I said is just trust God. He can supply your needs. Anybody remember anything else we can do? Yes. Ask God to bless the food. Good. Other things? Yes?
Take advantage of variety.
Take advantage of variety. Very good. You can buy things you will never be able to buy all in one place, and you can pick and choose the most nutritious foods. Just go up there. Anything else? Yes?
Roadside markets or the farmers.
Yeah, try to get fresher. There's more nutrients when it's fresher, when it hasn't been stored. And I was shocked at that. I did not realize our fruits are stored that long. And that's pretty amazing. And the nutritional value goes down. Again, that's one of the other problems there. Yes. Grow your own. Good. That's a great thing you can do. And those are all things you can do. So those are a good list. And that we did that. Fasting will help you on a plan. And do all those things. Keep food as God made it. And we talked about sometimes you peel things, lose nutritional value. Also, organic food is going to be better. They'll understand that organic doesn't mean they rested the land, but it's still going to be better. It won't look as good and all those things, but it can help you. I noticed when one of our children has struggled with their health, a decent amount for our family. Our family is generally really healthy. They went into Guatemala for 3 months, and they're sick a lot here, and was not sick a single day in Guatemala, not a single day. And when we were talking to her on the phone, we were saying, hey, we just had this big thing go through the church, and they said, well, I told them about that here, and they say they never have anything go through the church. And people get sick, but it's just one person gets sick for a few days, but they don't. And you ever notice how sickness now in America hangs on for a week and a half, 2 weeks? Remember when cold just last 2 or 3 days? And yeah, as everybody coughs. And but understand that the reason is your immune system can't fight it off very fast. Is the biggest reason. I mean, there's other reasons, but that's the biggest reason. And so we don't get that. Then we said supplement, and I want to talk about supplementing real quick. Being very careful about this. It's so frustrating because there's some rules in when you're going to supplement your food that you need to do, and a lot of people mess it up and don't know they're messing it up, and then they don't get the benefits, and even they get harmed, and it doesn't work. And I want to give you a few quick principles now. Here's what I'm going to do to you. I'm going to take a glob of Bible principles here. And what happens is you get Bible principles in your mind, they change the way you think, and you start applying a way of thinking to everything in life. There is a way of thinking that I think about health, and I can't take you to the Bible verse, but I can give you a bunch of principles, and I put them together, and it makes a way of thinking that I think about health, which is also a way I think about spiritual things, which is also a way I think about finances. It's a way of thinking, and that's the way you have to think biblically. Number one, strengthen things that remain. Revelation 3:2. So here's a church who's very sick spiritually, dying spiritually, and God says, hey, don't just forget about it. Okay, you're just a miserable lot of bad Christians. He says, look, what you have, strengthen it that's still alive. You understand, when something's dead, it's dead. Okay? But the things which remain, strengthen those things. You can strengthen things and make them better. Even this church, which is spiritually sick. So somebody's life is, somebody comes and they've been a heroin addict for 10 years and they've messed everything up. And of course their finances are a disaster. And of course their family can't stand them. And their health is messed up and their liver is this and their that is this. They come to church. I give them hope. You know what we start doing? Strengthening them. Okay? They've got addictions. They've got problems. They've got burdens. They've got things that are going to take a long time to fix. But you know what you start doing? Let's get you healthy. Let's start getting you in church every Sunday. Let's read your Bible. Let's start treating people right. Let's not betray anybody's trust. And you start strengthening that. You'd be surprised how things can be repaired if you just start rebuilding them. I understand some things can't be. Now, when they're dead, they're in the grave. I can't. I've never been able to help somebody who's dead. Okay? But if you strengthen the things that are there, see what people think, and it drives me crazy, is what people think and what the medical field thinks a lot of times is once something is not good, it's gone. Okay, your liver is or your memory is this, and so you just have bad, and it's just going to deteriorate from now on. I don't believe that. I think you can strengthen things. You know, my favorite part of the medical world, and again, I'm not against modern medicine, I'm not a doctor, but I pay a lot of attention, and my favorite part of the whole medical world is physical therapy. Physical therapy can do you a lot of good, okay? And I love, because you know what it does? It starts rebuilding and strengthening things. So I was injured at my work. I was very hard physical labor on a dock, injured my back, and I went to the doctor. He said, structurally, your back there's nothing wrong with it. Of course, you can't tell that much in an x-ray, but he said, let me send you to physical therapy. And of all the crazy things, the guy said, okay, go lift that over there. And I went to lift something, and he said, well, first of all, you lift completely wrong. And he says, touch your toes. And I did a very good knee touch. And he says, all right. And he said, did some things, and I do something on the stomach. He said, look, you're supposed to lift. You lift your back. Your lower back does all of your lifting. You're supposed to, you actually, your hamstrings and your stomach should be doing a lot of lifting also. He says, your back takes all the strain. And that's why your back's having those problems. And he says, look, here's some things to do. Stretch this way. Here's some stretches. Here's the way to work out your stomach. Da-da-da-da. And guess what? I can go, and if you want to lift 150 pounds right now, I can lift 150 pounds right now. My lower back is great. Why? I strengthen a bunch of things. Does that make sense? Okay. And you find out when you strengthen things, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many things that ail you just go away when you eat right and get in shape. Now, I understand. Well, Pastor, I have, they amputated my right wrist. Is that going to grow back? No. That's gone. We understand that. We understand there are broken things, okay, and things that are not. But you know what? You strengthen things, okay, and they get better. First, that principle, and you can make progress. And the body, let me tell you this: when the body gets fed properly, and you quit damaging it, you'll be shocked how much better it can get, no matter your age. If you can get proper nutrition to that thing, to what's ailing you. And that's what a lot of times the problem, okay? Please just understand this for a sec. Just take joints, because almost everybody begins to get joints problems in America because of malnutrition. Your joints are starving, okay? When you start getting the problems in your joints, it took a long time to get there. Okay, you're not going to fix it instantly or do that. But what happens is you can start getting nutrition to them, and you'd be surprised how much better they can get. You got to strengthen those things. When you get nutrition to them, you'd be surprised how much better it can get. Number 2, be patient, not hasty. I'm just going to fly into Proverbs real quick and just read things about quickly. And again, I'm just giving some Bible principles that permeate the way I think and the way we should think about everything, and that includes health. Don't be hasty. Proverbs 14, verse 29, he that is slow to wrath is a great understanding, and he that is of hasty of spirit exalteth folly. I'm going to read you references 21:5, 19:2, and I'll read 28:20. Don't be hasty. Proverbs 28, verse 20. A faithful man shall abound with blessings, but he that maketh haste to be rich shall not be innocent. It's a whole principle of the Bible. He that hasteth with his feet sinneth, it says, one of the references I gave. You have need of patience after that ye have done the will of God, you may inherit the promise, Hebrews says. Patience. You do not microwave yourself out of what you crock-potted yourself into. And that's true of health. 20 years of smoking does not mean all of a sudden you can start treating your lungs right and they're instantly better. Okay? But your lungs can get better. Okay? Now, your liver, your joints, your this, your that, all these things, we've neglected them. We've eaten things that inflame them, and we do things and we don't get proper nutrition to them, and they get very beat up. And so the grandpa who used to work in his garden at 72 now is now in a wheelchair in this generation. Okay? And we see that. So be patient. Once you start fixing things, don't say, oh, I tried it for 3 weeks, it didn't work. But you were 41 years into damaging it. Okay? And so it's going to take a while. And you need to be patient, and don't expect everything to get fixed instantly, okay? Look, it's a lot easier to put on weight than take off weight. Okay? I'm 30 pounds overweight, and I died for like 2 weeks, and it's still there. Well, okay, give it some time and do that. Next, hiding symptoms by medications versus listening and seeking healing. Okay, this is huge. It's something. Let me take it to Proverbs 28 and verse 13. This is a principle of life. The Bible talks about wisdom rebukes you. Okay. So this person, he keeps on having bad relationships. He gets to the wrong type of girl, and they have fights, and he keeps on ending up in jail over and over. And he doesn't listen to the symptoms saying, you have bad relationships. What is wrong with me? What he says is all women are bad. Okay? And the symptoms should be telling him something. Okay? A person's finances are bad when they're 20 and when they're 30 and when they're 40 and when they're 50. Okay? Wisdom is screaming, the Bible says. Wisdom cries in the gates. And wisdom is saying something to that person. Now, what they can do is get a credit card and keep going into further and further into debt. What they can do is continue to ignore the symptoms and not treat the cause, or he can suppress the symptoms. Go move in back with mom at 50. And go ahead and get on the system and get on food stamps and get on this. And he suppresses symptoms that actually is a character problem with him. Okay, do you follow? So my car, this thing called check engine light comes on. I don't like that check engine light. It means I have a problem. So I take my drill and I go zzz, and I drill right through the little dash. And I drill right through that little light, and I no longer have a problem with my car. Right? There's no more symptom. There's no more problem. I can't see a symptom. And that's what, now listen to me. I'm going to get myself in trouble here. But most medication is symptom hiding. When you should be saying, why is my body telling me? And we go to pain management when there's a time. There's a time for that. I'm not saying not. There's not. You go and get your back shattered in a car accident. Okay, we understand. But your body is telling you something's wrong here. Okay? And it tells you in 1,000 different ways. It tells you by weight gain. It tells you by pain in your side. It tells you by aching joints. It tells you by no energy. It tells you by a foggy mind. It tells you 1,000 different things. And what you should say is not, disease is now a super broad term, right? They apply disease to everything. Alcoholism is a disease the same way AIDS and cancer is a disease. Now obesity is a disease. Okay, they classified it that way. And so now you have a disease, you've got to have a medication to treat your disease. But listen, what if degenerative disc disease, okay? There's no virus that's eating away your joints. Okay? Understand that when it says a disease. So it pops in somebody's mind when they say I have bipolar disease or I have degenerative disc disease, they say I have something like a virus or a bacteria in my body that's making my mind all messed up, or I have something that's eating away my joints. Is it possible that a nutritional deficiency is you're not getting enough nutrition in those joints, and because they're deteriorating? Is it possible that your emotional swings aren't just you're born that way? Okay? Symptoms and teach you that. And Proverbs 28:13. Did I read this yet? Here we go. He that covereth his sins shall not prosper, but whoso confesseth and forsaketh them shall have mercy. You might not have the disease of obesity. You might have the character flaw of eating McDonald's twice a day. Okay? You understand that? And so sometimes your body is telling you, you need to do this thing. And so you need to fix that thing. Look, okay, ready? Your emotions. I'm going to tell you just the basic, super clear, super scientifically studied, very obvious, let alone there's a lot of trace things and things that people suspect that affect your emotions, okay? Here's the nutrients that affect your emotions. Ready? Vitamin B6, vitamin B12, iron, magnesium, vitamin D, omega-3, niacin, chromium, and folate. Every single one of those affects your emotions. Okay, a deficiency of one or two or three of those, your emotions are going to be unstable. Do you ever wonder why today everyone's kind of chipper? Because everybody got more vitamin D this morning. You know why? Because the sun's out. And that's what happens. Look, I listened to a doctor who specializes in nutrition, and he was talking about how when he first came to Seattle, he was already in practice, and he came here and he saw the severe emotional problems people in Seattle do. And by the way, if you don't know, everybody in America is not as depressed as people around here. And he started trying to figure out why their lives weren't that messed up and why were they so depressed and why they have so much schizophrenia and why so many all these things. And he said, boy, this sure sounds like vitamin D deficiency. Let me do some tests on that. He says, now I don't test anybody. If they're in Seattle, they're vitamin D deficient. And that's what he said. He says, I automatically just massively supplement with the vitamin D. Unless they can be outside in the clouds, which you can still get a little bit, for 14 or 15 hours a day, they're not going to get enough vitamin D. And so you just see that, you're going to be that way. Okay? And so you're gonna have the hyper emotionalism that you have there, just because. And so if you're deficient in these things happen, and they're part of that. And so in most of your food, you're not going to get a vitamin B12 or vitamin B6. Postpartum depression, you just lost a lot of blood. If you lost a lot of blood, you have iron deficiency. Is that logical? Did you know that animals eat placebos and get back iron? Placentas, sorry, placebos. Placentas, same thing. That's right. And the placenta, and you know what they get back? A whole bunch of iron. But you know, we don't do that. You know, a lot of times I have to give a woman a vitamin, an iron shot, because she is so messed up emotionally. Because it makes sense, because those things all affect your emotions. So instead of saying, okay, I got to go get me some massive thing that's going to massively change the chemicals in my mind so it will not develop certain chemicals that make me feel, and I'm not saying nobody needs that. Some people need that. And certainly some people need it in situations to get them stabilized. However, couldn't maybe you start getting all those nutrients to your brain and see if your emotions stabilize? Okay? And so you find the strengthening things. You don't hide things. You say, what is my body telling me? In the Bible, fruit reveals things, and it shows, you know them by their fruits, and revelation of things. And so we see those things. Next, here's the important thing. If you're going to supplement, and as you probably need to, okay, let me illustrate this again. One more way, and again, I'm finishing up the last lesson. Do you know a professional swimmer, for example? Do you know how many calories they eat a day? About 10 to 12,000 calories a day. And you know what? Do they look fat to you? Every year in the swimming at camp, we have a contest so you can go the farthest to the other end and back, and who can go the farthest. And I always win that contest. One, because I'm a preacher and I have better lungs, but two, because everything that can swim good has a lot of fat, doesn't it? And whales and sharks, and so I can swim better than all the skinny kids. And but you look, and they burn all those calories, right? Because they burn all those calories. They need that many calories. So here's a whole thing. Well, I'm gonna have to say this in 2 minutes, and it's so important you understand this. Our lifestyles demand we have way more nutrients than they did historically. For example, so physically exerting, you burn calories. Mentally, you burn a bunch of stuff by the stress we live under. You didn't have that much stress when you're walking behind a mule plowing a field. Trying to figure out how to get out of this parking lot today will be more stress and more decisions than most people would make in a day in history. Okay? You understand how many decisions you have in a day? You understand how stressful driving is? And how many decisions? Should I stomp on it? Should I put my brakes on? Should I go in this lane or that lane? Should I do this? And all the decisions you make, and all the demands of your body, and all the insults from pollution and stress. And we're going to talk a whole lesson about stress biblically. And you know what stress does to your body? Okay, so your body basically needs much more nutrients, a lot of nutrients, than people did historically in a lot of ways, okay? Now, you're not going to get it from the food. So in most cases, you need to supplement because you can't eat enough food. If you eat enough food, in most cases, now, best thing to do, eat good food. It's better than supplementing in most cases. But you probably can't eat enough good food to really give you what you need to deal with the stresses and pains of our society and the demands that are put in our bodies nowadays, okay? Just like the 10,000 calories for the swimmer, because of the demands he needs for calories, that's one type of nutrient. We have all these other types of things, including especially your mind. And notice how dementia and all those things are going up so massively. How are you going to supplement that and get that? You've got to do this. First of all, supplement with things as God made them. Now, okay, now I'm going to slow down just for a sec here. Okay, here's the problem with supplementing. Okay, if I use the right supplements, which I've read a lot, studied a lot, listened a lot, and tried a lot, okay? And on this area, I'm not a doctor, but in this area, I know what I'm talking about, okay? If I supplement right, and I can afford what I need to get, I need an hour and a half less sleep a day. Okay? I have a body that's been through all kinds of hard physical labor and pounding with back injuries. I've been in dozens of car wrecks, dozens. 44 car wrecks I've been in. I have been, had my back injured. I have had a serious tropical disease that attacks your joints. My body and my joints should be a complete disaster. And if I do not take care, I will begin to ache all over. And my back will begin to burn and shoot across different areas, and I'll begin to limp. Every single one of those things happens to me if I don't supplement. Okay? If I do not supplement, I started supplementing because of a need for energy. That's what it started off with. I was just so busy in Bible college, and I was getting sick so often. I said, I've got to be healthier than this. I cannot miss school this much. I cannot miss work. And I'm sleeping 3.5, 4 hours a night, every night. And I've got to get some energy. I'm so dead. And so I began experimenting, and I found out a whole bunch of vitamins don't work. Okay. But I experimented, I found vitamins that do work, and these things help me tremendously. And I am very energetic. I work a lot of hours, probably work more hours than anybody in this room on an average week. I work a lot of hours. I'm very busy. My job has a lot of stresses, but I feel great. I do not eat good enough to feel great. I have a terrible appetite. I love junk food. Now, fortunately, I knew better than to give my kids my appetite, and we fed them with good food. They have a great appetite. They like good food that's good for them. I don't. I make myself eat food that's good for me, but I know I don't eat enough of it, and so I supplement. And so I'm very careful about it and use the right things, and it helped me. I ran into a memory problem about 4 years ago. It was serious, a serious memory problem. What did I do? Well, I guess I'm going to the rest of my life not remember anything and lose my keys and not be able to remember anybody's name. No, I said, I've got to figure this out. The doctor was so concerned about it, they did me a full CT scan, everything in my brain. They tried to figure it out, and we did all kinds of scans and studies of my brain and blood tests and everything else. He could not figure it out. I said, you know what? It's probably a nutritional deficiency. I probably need more. And guess what I did? Started supplementing for my brain, and guess what? Memory's back. Now, it took some experimenting. And all those things, but it's better now. At least I think it is. I remember something about that, and all those things. So here's an important thing: if you use the wrong supplements, they'll harm you. Okay, ready? Now I'll super simplify it for you. Okay, calcium comes in many forms. So you go up to Fred Meyer here, and you go look through the nutrition thing, and there's a couple of decent vitamin brands there, very few, and that's not Fred Meyer's problem. It's normal. You go up and look in the back, and you're trying to get calcium, okay? You look for calcium in the back of the thing. This thing has 200% of calcium. Okay, I'm going to get that one because I need calcium. This one only has 80% of the calcium. Listen for a sec. God made food a certain way. Okay, for example, we said if you juice an orange, you have 25% of the vitamin C. You eat the orange itself, you get a way higher percentage of vitamin C. You eat the orange and the white pith on the inside, you get a whole bunch of vitamin C. Okay, because it's made to go together. There is no rules on what type of calcium that is. Do you know that literally some of the vitamins, when it says calcium, it is ground up rocks? And that is calcium. It is calcium. And it's ground up rocks or ground up seashells, clam shells, oyster shells. They grind them up super fine and they put them in the vitamin, and you now have 20% of the weight of calcium, or 200% of weight for the calcium for a day. Your body will not digest a microgram of that. Your body cannot process that. So don't look in the back and say, look how much that has. That means nothing, okay? Your body will say, what is this stuff? And actually, they find that people who use cheap calcium, I think it's 67% higher risk of a heart attack. Because your body says, what do I do with this stuff? You get severe constipation. It tries to store it somewhere. Your bones will calcify, for one thing. Your bones become hard. Your bones shouldn't be hard like that. It'll put them in all kinds of places. Your body tries to adjust it and sort it, and it might put it into your vascular system. It could harden your brain. It can affect your heart, and you just made yourself much less healthy. You understand? So vitamin C, you can take vitamin C and can say 6,000% of daily vitamin C. If it doesn't have transporters that your body says, oh, this makes it so I can process this and use this. If you take the chemical vitamin C without the transporters that God makes it in, your body will say, that's interesting. Let me flush it through your system and you'll have diarrhea. But your body didn't take hardly any of the vitamin C you just took. Okay? And so you've got to get high quality ingredients who use natural ingredients the way God designed that food. You can get calcium from vegetables, and your body will process it wonderfully. And this thing that says that's 15% of your daily calcium processes more than a 200% vitamin. You follow? So, and it doesn't harm you. Now, so having said that, let's you guys pass these out. I'm going to give you just a helpful little list of some vitamins. Here, hand these out. Okay, make it real super clear. I do not sell anything. I don't have any contracts, anything. I don't make any money with anything. I don't owe anybody anything. I'm giving this list because these work, not because, oh, Pastor, this is multi-level and you sell these things. I don't sell anything. Okay, I want you to understand that this is just for you, and this is these are things that work. Okay. And I'll just go through this real briefly with you. These are vitamins that work, and I've got to fly because I want to get to our main lesson, and we're in trouble here. Okay, first of all, the best and expensive. And I want to tell you this. You get what you pay for in a lot of cases, okay? So the best ones in the world, and there's two different approaches here. Now, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you backwards. So I'm going to use a skeptic. I don't think a Bible has to do anything with nutrition. He's going to say, oh, this is the way he does this because of this. Listen to me. I discovered these are the best vitamins. Later, I found out both of these people come from a Bible approach, the best ones. Okay? I found out they were the best, and I found out these people use the Bible principles to make their vitamins. Okay? Premium nutrition, very hard to get. There's a store in Linwood called Healthy Way. Just real simple. I did it this week. They will ship you as many vitamins you order for $5. Okay, it's easier than driving through Seattle. And but if you do that, then they'll ship you whatever you order for $5. I did that this week. Premium nutrition. Let me tell you their approach real quick because it can be very helpful if you like it. Premium nutrition. What they do is target an organ or a problem. So if your eyes bother you, your eyes burn a lot or something like that, you will ask for one of their eye ones. If you have liver problems, they do that. If you have adrenal problems, which almost everybody does, adrenal problems, and you can look up signs of that. One of those is you're sluggish in the morning, you don't have energy, you run energy real quick, all those things. They have something called Alive and Well, and it's phenomenal for your energy and for your alertness and things. If you're having memory problems, they have things for that. Okay, so they have these things that are thyroid or whatever. They have things that work on a specific issue. What they do is they strengthen an organ. Then the organ starts working better. Okay, that's what they do. They are not as big on a multivitamin. They have one multivitamin, but that's not what they really recommend. They try to target what the need is. It's expensive. The best vitamin on the planet, literally, I think the best vitamin on the planet is called VitaVision 700. It's made for your eyes, but it actually does every single cell in your body. It helps you in so many ways. I can't afford it, so I don't do it anymore. It's so expensive, but they have a lot of good things like that. Garden of Life, if I'm not mistaken, he is a Jewish man who made this, who got his principles. I think he wrote a book called The Maker's Diet, and he kind of looked at those things. That is a multivitamin. He has other things. Mostly it's a multivitamin. A great vitamin. So me, I always need energy. I get sluggish when I don't supplement. When I start supplementing I have lots of energy. I can work 14, 15 hours a day. When I am really getting everything I want to get, which I usually don't get to do, I actually don't like walking anywhere. I like jogging. At my age, I have so much energy. That is not always the case because I cannot always afford the things that I like best, but I do the best I can. And those are the best, fairly expensive, and you can. That's where you find those. You go to Vitamin World or something, you can find the Garden of Life. I don't think it's up at the regular store, like up here. Decent, a couple brands here, Solaray and Twin Labs. And Twin Labs is very affordable. They have a daily one that's very potent. And gives you a lot of energy and such, but they're not the same quality. One more thing I would say on this, and I'm going to move on, is everybody should be taking fish oil. right now, the medical world is going crazy over fish oil. They love it so much. Every alien thing they find fish oil fixes it. It's fixing joints. It fixes your heart. It fixes your brain. It's phenomenal what fish oil does. The medical world is saying, everybody, if you don't have a heavy fish diet, you need to take fish oil because it helps you in so many incredible ways. And now, a lot of studies will tell you, and here's the thing, the medical world has tested vitamins, say they don't work, except for fish oil. Because fish oil is such a dead ringer, and because it's pretty easy to get decent quality in it. Now you know the reason that their studies on vitamins don't work, that they don't work. It's because of the vitamins they use. They use the big brands. They use capsules. Capsules don't absorb. They don't break. Tablets. I'm sorry. Tablets don't absorb. They don't break down, and they don't use good ones. And you got to get good ones. And most of them are not good. Most of them won't give you any benefits. Some will harm you. A few will do you a little bit of good. These are some decent brands. When you get fish oil, get ones with EPA and DHA. They're much better for you. And that's not on the list there. EPA and DHA, you'll find out helps you. All right. Let's move on. Let's go to Proverbs 24. That's what I wanted to say about supplements and those principles there. I didn't get an exercise. Of course that matters. Of course, if you stay in shape, your body's not fighting itself and everything gets strengthened and all those things. And we'll touch on that. We'll give you tips along the way. Proverbs 24. Verse 13 and 14, my son, eat thou honey, because it is good, and the honeycomb which is sweet to thy taste, so shall the knowledge of wisdom be unto thy soul. When thou hast found it, then there shall be a reward, and thy expectation shall not be cut off. So eating honey is good, but look at Proverbs 25. Those of you who are here for my honey lesson on a Thursday night, you will know where we're going. Verse 16. Hast thou found honey? Eat so much as sufficient for thee, lest thou be filled therewith and vomited. Eat enough as sufficient. Verse 27, it says, it is not good to eat much honey, for so men to search out their own glory is not glory. I want to talk to you about restraint today in your health. It's a tough one, restraint. Okay, first of all, honey's good, don't eat too much of it. Okay? Because you need to have restraint. Number one, eat good things in measure. Eat good things in measure. Look at Proverbs 30, while we're near there. Verse 8 and 9, remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and still and take the name of my God in vain. Notice that you kind of change when you get too much good stuff. Okay? It says, give me food sufficient. Good enough. That's what I need. Okay? And as we see that, 1 Timothy chapter 6. I'm going to hit this. 1 Timothy 6. I know I'm going fast. Forgive me, we took a long time, and this is a very short lesson here, and I want to try to get through it if we can. 1 Timothy 6, verse 6 through 8. It says this, but godliness with contentment is great gain. Godliness with contentment is great gain. Verse 8, and having food and raiment, let us therewith be content. Be content. Have enough. When you eat, listen to me, when you eat enough. Don't stuff yourself. It's terrible for you. It's very easy to do. Be content. Look, you do not want to stuff yourself, and there's a lot of reasons for that. We'll get into that, but eat to contentment. I have enough. This is good. Be content. Feed me with food that makes me content. Just give me enough. Give me food and raiment. Just give me enough. Don't spoil yourself. Don't always eat. And I'm going to tell you, if you always eat what you want to eat, it'll ruin you. You don't believe me? Try it with a kid. Take little 2-year-old Johnny, I want this, and always feed him what he wants. By the time he's 12 or 14, all he can eat is macaroni and cheese, Kraft, Cheerios, they're actually Cheerios, and string cheese. And that's all he can eat. Or whatever is 3 or 4 things, because why? He won't eat anything else, because you taught him to be spoiled, and he has no appetite. You know what? When somebody brings you food and puts it in front of you, eat it. When your wife cooks for you, oh, you know that's not my favorite. Well, you don't always get your favorite in life. Your job is not always your favorite. Your duty's not. You get spoiled. You start demanding your own way all the time. He says, look, I'm going to begin to forget God and curse God when I get too much food of everything I want. If you give me food, it's convenient for me. I don't want to get spoiled. Food affects your outlook on life and gets you spoiled. It's always good for me to go to the third world and wonder what they're feeding me. Because I come back to America and just a plain old cheeseburger looks really good. Okay? Don't get spoiled in your food. Sometimes go to the menu and don't order your favorite thing. Order something to be decent for you. Sometimes when you cook, don't always cook your absolute favorite. We're so spoiled. I only eat Kraft macaroni and cheese. You're so spoiled. You need to be hungry sometime. This is 1% milk. It's like water. I can't drink it. You can survive. Okay? Look, and I know I don't like 1% milk either. Give me the rich, thick, but look, life isn't always where you can get spoiled. And when you get spoiled, you begin to get so picky. And so eat with restraint. Number 2, don't be gluttonous. Philippians 3:19. Oh, brother, we're out of time. Don't be gluttonous. Gluttonous is basically overeating. Philippians 3:19. I got too many verses here. It says this, whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, whose glory is their shame, who mind earthly things. Proverbs 23:2, 23:20, and 21, it says, don't be around gluttonous people and riotous eaters of flesh. Gluttony. Gluttony is overeating, is stuffing yourself. Don't do that. It's not biblical. Number 3, don't be brought under the power of any. 1 Corinthians 6:12. 1 Corinthians 6:12. All things are lawful unto me, but not all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. Bible principle, you are never brought under the power of anything. You are free to serve God. You do not have to have that drink. You don't have to have that food. You don't have to have that car. You don't have to have that heater on. You don't have to have that air conditioning on. You're not under the power of anything. That's the Bible principle. Because if you're under the power of anything, you're a slave to it. Okay? I will not be brought under the power of any. Ready? Coffee. If you have to have coffee, something's wrong. Okay? I will not be brought under the power of any food. I gotta have this sugar. I gotta have these calories. I gotta have this. I gotta have donuts. It's Sunday. I gotta have donuts. It's not Open Door Baptist Church. We don't have donuts. Okay? Okay, I understand. But don't be. You choose. I'm going to choose to eat this. Not. Ugh. That's not where you're healthy, okay? Don't be brought under the power of any. I've got to have one in this day. Then that means you need to not have it. Because you got to be with a sober mind under control. Now, let me teach something about overeating. Digesting is very hard work, okay? You don't know that because you don't see it and feel it. What you feel is no energy. Because your body was working the whole time. Don't eat before you sleep, by the way. You will be, first of all, your body is not designed to digest horizontally. Okay? The direction the food is going is down. Okay? You won't digest right. What'll happen is your body will lay there and digest all night. And it's like jogging in the amount of energy it takes, okay? It takes about 10 to 15% of your body, of your energy to digest your food, if you don't massively overeat. But if you eat and you stuff yourself and then you're like cram full and you say, okay, dessert now, your body's going to be digesting that for 5 hours. And it's working for 5 hours. And your body is going to be all messed up, and you're going to find yourself very sluggish, very short in energy. Plus, you know what? Your stomach is an incredible design thing. It also expands and gets bigger and bigger The more you stuff it, and guess what? When you stuff it, now that you got this big hunk of thing that just stretched, and guess what? It's going to take more to fill it next time. And guess what? You get, so you don't be gluttonous. You restrain yourself. You don't put sugar on everything. You don't put salt on everything. You do not go and be unrestrained. Now, I've already gotten in trouble twice, right? Have I said twice I'm going to be in trouble now? I'm getting in trouble third time. We'll make it a three's the charm. Watched a lot of people, dealt with a lot of people, helped a lot of people, prayed for a lot of people, loved a lot of people with their health issues, and we love them. A good percentage of people that I love to death and stuff, when I eat with them, I see why they have their health issues. Says, Pastor, that's mean. Look, you're knocking down Coke and drinking 4 Cokes a day. Pray for me, Pastor, I'll lose weight. Okay, Lord, give them discipline. That's my prayer. Look, you can avoid a lot of your blood sugar problems with your diet. Your blood pressure problems. You know, this person here, Pastor, pray for my blood sugar and pass that salt there. Really, I'm worried about my heart. They say my blood pressure's 180 over 10. They're over 100. And you know, it's really, so pray about that. Hey, there's not enough gravy with these biscuits and gravy. Can you put more gravy on there? Look, guys. A sedentary lifestyle, yes, you'll need prayer for your joints and weight, and you're just going to. If you don't exercise, you don't get your blood flowing, and your brain is all foggy, or you have too much sugar, and you're going to say, I just can't think clearly. I cannot keep my mind. I can't read the Bible and understand it. But your coffee in the morning has more sugar than, and you know, white granulated sugar is poison. Now, by the way, sugar cane, originally the way God made it, is not that bad for you. The way we process it so it stirs in real easy, it's poison. It's terrible for you. Okay? So, look, you got to discipline yourself. You got to use restraint. The Bible says gluttony is sin. Okay? You choose. Don't be brought in the power of any. You choose that you need to eat this. You choose, I'm going to enjoy this. You choose, I need this. And you have restraint. You choose, not what you feel like, not what's fun, what your body is craving. By the way, sugar's addictive, caffeine's addictive, cholesterol, grease, all that stuff, you start needing it. Just start eating fast food every day and try stopping. You'll find out, I really need. You do, because your body needs it. And so restraint is vital for good health. All right. Quick questions. I flew. Boy, if you don't know how much information it's got through. Yes?
Is it better to eat small meals a day, many small meals, or 3 meals?
There's a lot of opinions on that, and I don't have a strong enough answer to know that. And everybody, and literally you'll talk to one doctor who's an expert who'll say, you know what, 1 big meal in the morning and 2 small meals. Another one will say 6 meals a day, and that stuff changes all the time. The only thing that is for sure is don't eat too late. And breakfast is a better meal than the rest to eat big. That's kind of the only thing that are consistent. Other questions? Yes?
What are your thoughts on rice?
It's great food. It's good. Good for you. Yeah, healthy cultures. Not just rice, though. Brown rice is way better for you. Yes. Other questions? Yes?
What's your opinion on the exercise supplements, like the weight gainers?
It's more complicated. Depends on what you're doing. For a lot of people, they don't need that, but some people do. So I would say that's too complicated to be a blanket answer. Anybody else? Yes. Depends on what you're eating. Certain foods stay in you a long time, and it depends how good your digestive system's working. So I don't know the exact answer to that. I want to say just one thing on your health is everybody's body is different, and you got to listen to your body. And I get There's things that I do and things that work with my body, things that I need and things you don't need. Half of you need calcium. And your body's going to tell you if you need calcium sometimes. Half of you, your feet start cramping up when you lay down. There's a couple things that cause that. Okay? And your body's telling you something. You can look that up and find out why your body, it's a sign, it's a symptom. And you can take some medication, it'll make it so but it's going to have a bunch of side effects. You can find out what nutrition, you eat a banana, you'll find out that goes away in most cases, for example.